The Alldus podcast is brought to you by Alldus International, supplying your expert AI and digital transformation staffing needs across the US and Europe. Today, you are listening to our AI in Action series, where leading minds in AI from across the world share their story, success, and advice. AI in Action cuts through the hype and explores the true impact of artificial intelligence in our world today.
You're listening to AI in Action. I'm your host, JP Valentine. Our guest today is Ben Tengelsen. Ben is the VP of Data Science at IntelyCare. Ben, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you so much. It's great to be here.
It's our pleasure. Thanks for joining. Can you give us a bit of a background of your journey in technology, from where you got started, some of the roles you've held along the way, and what's led you to where you are today as the VP of Data Science at IntelyCare?
I think it's almost easier if I go backwards. So I'm at IntelyCare now. Before coming to IntelyCare, I was at Wayfair working on the pricing algorithms team and was there for a bit and learned a lot and met a lot of wonderful people. Arrived at Wayfair from grad school at Carnegie Mellon University, where I was studying economics. It was about 3 years into the PhD program there that I realized that all of my happiest days were the days where I was writing a whole lot of code and exploring data and doing the work of a data scientist. And so felt like that's probably what I should try and spend most of my days doing. And the opportunity at Wayfair was exactly that, where I got to spend a lot of time writing code, but also learning a lot about how a business works and what is the role and kind of strategic value of data in a business. And that's really kind of the start of it. I studied math and economics as an undergraduate and have always had an interest in those sorts of fields. But yeah, that's my journey and where I am now.
Excellent. Thank you for that. So focusing now on today, IntelyCare, tell us all about the company, who you are, what you do, what's the mission of the business?
Yeah, for sure. So IntelyCare is a gig economy type business to match nurses with nursing homes. And that's putting it very simply, but we have a mobile app where nurses can go and see the shifts that are available in their area. And then we have kind of a web app that facilities can use and put in the available shifts that they have. Staffing and scheduling for nursing homes and hospitals as well is just this headache that never ever goes away, and you're always trying to fill gaps in your schedule, and it's something that we're trying to make really frictionless and easy as we can. As far as how you view the business from like a data standpoint, it's almost easier to describe it in terms of what we're not. So we're not in the same algorithm space as, say, like Lyft or DoorDash or something, where we're trying to make instantaneous matches. The requests come in several days in advance, even weeks in advance. And so there's a lot of time to make matches compared to ride sharing or other kind of instantaneous matching type businesses. And then at the same time, we're not e-commerce, where you have this huge warehouse of shifts that are available. The shifts are very ephemeral. You have a few at one facility and a few at another facility, and hopefully you have just a lot of facilities. But those shifts are, coming and going rapidly through the course of a day. And it's all very local as well. So in those ways, it's not e-commerce. And I guess I don't really know what we are. We're stuck in between those two models. And that, to me, is what makes it really exciting, is that we are dealing with a very kind of unique and challenging problem space in the catalog that we deal with. So IntelyCare as a company, our big mission is to really improve the lives of nurses as much as possible, and to improve the flexibility of nurses and their kind of what we call their nurse life balance, or their ability to work on their own terms as much as possible. And the reason this is important is because in the United States, we have this huge nursing shortage. And so to keep every nurse attached to the workforce requires a new model, and allowing people who might have small kids at home, or people who are ready to be retired, but maybe they just want to work a little bit here and there, to try and keep these people that are on the margins of the workforce attached by giving them flexibility, letting them kind of work on their own terms and build their own schedule is solving this kind of bigger problem that exists in the labor market for nursing talent.
Sounds like quite a complex problem given the shortfall. How does the IntelyCare platform bridge that gap? What does it look like behind the scenes? And if I was a nurse interested in utilizing your platform, what would it look like day to day?
Yeah, so you go into your app and you find the shifts that are available to you and you get to build your own schedule. And that is what's really a big departure from the traditional kind of full-time employee experience that you might get working at a nursing home. And you might have a full-time job already. That's totally fine. And maybe you just want to work some extra on the side. We have a mix of the types of nurses that we employ, as well as how much they work for us. But it's really that freedom that is the secret sauce in solving this problem and keeping people attached. As far as what we bring from a data and algorithm standpoint is we see ourselves as a nurse engagement machine as much as we can. And so we're developing algorithms to predict churn and to personalize recommendations and to just create the most delightful experience that nurses could possibly have. And also making sure that we get the right eyeballs looking at the right shifts so that we're making really successful matches between nurses and facilities. And if we're able to do that, then we get to solve this, bigger problem of making sure that nurses aren't just engaged with IntelyCare, but that they're being engaged in the nursing space altogether.
Got you. Makes complete sense. I want to focus now on your team, your group, and then your role as the VP of Data Science. Can you give us some insight into a typical project, what you guys are working on, how many people are involved, and what's the culture of the data science team there?
Yeah, for sure. It's a whole lot of fun. We're still a pretty small company. We've only been around 5 or 6 years now, and the data team has grown over that time from 1 of us, 2 of us, to now there's about 15 of us altogether, including data engineering, business intelligence, and then more of the machine learning type things. And the projects come from all directions. We're in the data every day, and so we have a lot of our own ideas, and we're very interested in what are some of the behavior and decision science things that we can explore to keep people motivated and inspired to work. What are some of the more typical applications that we can employ, like recommendations and churn prediction? Pricing is another big algorithm that we have. And how can we optimize those and improve those to improve the experience for our nurses? And then the projects also come from the top as well. So we report to the product team. And so our head of product is in consultation with the stakeholders throughout the business. And we're in frequent conversation with these people as well. And they bring a lot of great ideas to us as well. How can we improve the application process? And how can we improve our communications? And we have built this culture of kind of experimentation and measurement. And we're a big part and a kind of a regular partner with these different teams in conducting these experiments and making these measurements and making sure that we're making improvements in the right direction based on the data that we get.
You are listening to the Alldus podcast. When you're looking to scale your team, or if you are interested in showcasing your company in a future episode, reach out today. Or if you're in the market for a new role, visit our website to view open positions, www.alldus.com.
Given what's happened over the past coming up on 3 years now with the impact of COVID, there's obviously been an increased interest in health technology as a whole. What changes have you seen with the demand across the industry, and what sort of milestones have you guys hit during that time? And when you look ahead, then what are you most excited about for the years ahead post-COVID?
So COVID has been a huge roller coaster ride for the past couple of years. And that's certainly true for lots of industries. We're not really unique there. But in working in the nursing home and assisted living space, like COVID hit us in the gut. And I remember in early 2020, just feeling super anxious, and we're having executive meetings at the start of the day and then at the end of the day, and you're just scrambling in between those meetings during the day and after the workday to just try and stay on top of all of the changes that are coming, all the new regulations. Do any of our facilities have COVID in the building? And what do you do? And where we really played a role was in communicating information at the very granular level with our nurses, so that nurses can know where they can work safely, what facilities have protective equipment, what facilities have testing on site, what facilities have different vaccine requirements later on. And just making that as transparent as possible was a lot of work and also hugely important. And obviously that's changes by state, and we're in dozens of states, and it's just a lot of work to stay on top of all of the different moving parts, and things continue to change even now. And then it also was a dramatic hit to our nurses as well. And we had a lot of nurses at the start leave our company and nursing altogether. It was just a very scary, difficult, dangerous time to be working. And a lot of nurses just didn't want to assume that risk. And that's fair and totally fair for them. What we were left with was a group of very diehard nurses. And so while we had fewer nurses at the immediate onset of COVID, the nurses that were left were just really hardcore and worked a lot of shifts. And as we've worked our way out of COVID, we've been able to maintain that same level of engagement and intensity among the nurses that we have, which has been very exciting. And so we have a lot more kind of enthusiasm, a much higher level engagement with the nurses that are on our platform now. And we've been growing well past where we were before COVID. It's been exciting. We've hit major milestones with respects to the number of completed hours. That's typically how we measure the volume of business that we're doing, and are basically at a pace where we're doubling our business every 7 or 8 months or so. It's just taken off like a rocket, and COVID was just a major source of acceleration for us.
Amazing. And with that growth, I assume that your own team is going to need to grow in order to support the business as a whole. Can you give us some insight into what opportunities there are going to be for people who are interested in this platform and working within data science to come and join the team? And with that, what you look for when it comes to hiring?
We have a variety of positions available. And if we don't have something immediately now, then just come back in a few months and there's a good chance that there will be something. So yeah, growing quickly. And I think at the start of COVID, we might have had 5 or so people, and now we're at 15. And so that growth is in step with the growth of the business as a whole. But yeah, there's a lot of low-hanging fruit as well as far as projects go and things that we might be working on soon. We have, over the past year, put together a really sweet data warehouse that's finally organizing all the data from our marketing team and our sales team and our customer service team. And we're able to integrate all of this data together, incorporate it into the various models that we're using, and just answer a lot of really fundamental questions about the efficacy of different communication channels, what touch points are really effective at improving this level of nurse engagement that we've talked about. And just with all of that data, there's just not enough hours in the day to look at it all. And so it's a great problem to have, in that there's just so many projects that we can take on. And as we're growing, there's lots of exciting projects to take on still.
Excellent. Ben, thank you so much for coming on today and talking to us. Appreciate you sharing your own background, giving us some insight into the mission at IntelyCare, how you guys are really breaking the status quo when it comes to access to nursing, and what role data science plays in helping you achieve that. So we wish you, the team, and everyone at IntelyCare the best of luck in the years ahead. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you so much as well.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Alldus podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. We are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and any Android podcast of choice. You can also head over to our website, www.alldus.com, to listen to more podcasts, view our open roles, and stay up to date with industry news. Thanks for listening, and stay tuned for more great episodes coming very soon.